Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms. I'm joined here, as always, with my preview partner, Jake Circus of the Jake Circus podcast. And this is the week 11 preview of Jungle Talk. Yeah, and this is Steeler week. So that's where we are. Before I forget, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. It's all we ask. Don't ask for Patreon money or anything like that. And we don't do commercials during it. We're pushing products. Just subscribe, hit the bell for the alerts. And Jake does two to three amazing podcasts every week. Jake, tell them where they can find all your stuff.
You can follow me mainly on Twitter at Jake Circus. That's Sirkus. Also, the Jake Circus podcast on Spotify. Haven't really posted one on YouTube in a while, but I do that every so often. But mostly on Spotify, 2 to 3 times a week. NFL, college football, that kind of stuff. I always say this is the best sports time of the year. Right around the World Series, even when the World Series ends, because then you get into bowl games, college football conference championships, and then the back half of the NFL season, which is I've always said the NFL matters most after Thanksgiving. Well, this game is around that time, and it's probably the biggest game of the season for the Bengals. And I'm just excited that we actually have a game to talk about this week. Because
Yeah,
last week we had
well,
the bye week, players are rested, hoping to get DJ Reader back, and now it's Steelers week.
yeah, well, I'm very concerned. We went into the bye last year losing two in a row and then came out with this in Vegas with this, like a train and just kept rolling. I'm really hoping we see the same thing this year. Obviously we have more injuries than we had last year, but supposedly we have a better offensive line. We haven't seen it yet, but there's better personnel there. So, but we'll go through what we usually do. We're going to talk about things we're not feeling good about, things we're feeling good about. We'll do our score predictions. I said this on last week. I don't feel good about Watt being back. I mean, he always causes problems for us. And Minka Fitzpatrick, who was out last week, was full practice. So both of those guys will be back this week, of course, in time for us. So that's one thing that concerns me. And I don't think we get Reader back this week. I don't think he plays. I mean, that's just my gut. I haven't seen anything. I know that he's eligible to practice now, but I don't know that we bring him back this week. So I don't know if you heard anything?
No, I have not. I haven't really listened to much of the press conferences this week. It doesn't really. You're probably right. Probably not. I don't think the Pittsburgh game was really always a target for him to come back. I think it was the Tennessee game next week, and then Jamar the week after that. There are some rumors that Jamar might play next week, but so we'll see. But it doesn't really seem like we're gonna get either of those guys back. And again, we talk about this against Carolina. Not really a huge spot where the Bengals necessarily need DJ Reader. Look, you always want to have Chase out there. You want to have Reader out there. Those are probably the Bengals' two best players outside of Joe Burrow on the team. And they're not out there for arguably the biggest game of the season. And I'm sure we'll talk about everything that we're fearful of. But that's certainly one of them is not having for, again, another important divisional game on the road, the second and third best players on this team. I would even argue that they're the first and second pound for pound best players on the team.
Yeah, no, and we're 0-3 in the division. So we desperately need to at least try to get to 3-3 in the division. So this could be our first divisional win. We also have no Dax Hill, although we didn't see a lot from him in the Carolina game. So but Tupou is not having him, I think we're going to feel, because I don't think we have him looking at the injury report.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Tupou's questionable as of November 15th. Reader does not have a designation for the game yet. He was designated to return off of IR on Monday.
Right.
And then Tupou said questionable on Tuesday. So we'll see.
Well, Tupou didn't practice yesterday or today. So that's not a good sign. Limited practice, I'd feel a little better about maybe him playing, but I don't think we're going to have him. So we have to assume we don't. Always concerned about injuries when we play the Steelers. I mean, you just watch. It's just like the little things, TJ Watt standing next to Burrow throws him to the ground just because he can, and I know, it's a football play and all that, but they do, just like Carson Palmer's knee, 15 years ago, they do take that extra step to try to put the player down. If they can take a shot, they do. which is what they did with Carson Palmer's knee. They basically rolled the shoulder into the knee. It was intentional, didn't have to do it. So I always concerned with the Steeler games. It's our nature. We had so many issues playing the Steelers that you can't help but be, go through like, PTSD when you're going in there.
Sure.
So
No, that's you're right. It's the years of the Steelers tormenting, both sides of the ball, and the coaching mismatch, and always going to Heinz Field was always scary. And during the Dalton years, the Bengals basically split with Baltimore. They beat up on Cleveland every time, but they can never beat Pittsburgh. And even though Pitt had that weird game week 1, the blowouts from last year and then the Monday night game the year before still loom large, and it still feels like the Bengals are overpowering in this matchup. And I think that we're going to talk about that. I have some numbers that I ran that really go towards the Bengals side in this one, especially coming off of a bye. But to start with, something that we're fearful of is, yes, TJ Watt's back, but outside of TJ Watt, I think Cam Hayward and Alex Highsmith have also played really well. They each have at least 30 pressures Hayward has 25. Alex Highsmith, the third-year player out of Charlotte, who I liked coming out of the draft in 2020. The Steelers picked him up in round 3, and the rest is history. He's like an all-pro now. He's having another really good season, one of the best pass rushers in the league. And now you bring back TJ Watt, and here's the Steelers running out the purple people eaters.
right, yeah.
So that they've got 3 guys that can really get to the quarterback, and it showed in week 1. But the Bengals offensive line has been playing much better lately. So
Yeah.
that was the Burrow appendix game, the offensive line first game, the run game couldn't do anything. They turned the ball over 5 times. So a lot of stuff that happened in the week 1 game are due to positively regress for Cincinnati in this game. But you go on the road against a Mike Tomlin team as a short underdog, where they're kind of starting to click, especially on defense. And yeah, you can certainly see why the spread's only 3.5, and
Right.
why it's continued to go down since opening at 5.5. And there's a bunch of reasons where you could convince yourself to pick Pittsburgh in this game. And I guess that's what we're here. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Well, the big question for me, can we duplicate what we did last year coming out of the bye? That's number one. And then can we duplicate Mixon running impact like we did last week? Can we keep that momentum, that we got against Carolina? Can we carry that into this game? Because the play action for Burrow is going to be a lot better if we can get Mixon running. So let's transition right into the good now. I mean, obviously we're coming off of one of our best offensive games of the year. We are coming off a bye week. And like I said, can we get Mixon? If we can get Mixon going, the play action is going to work a lot better. So those are things I'm feeling better about.
There's a lot to be excited about in this game, simply because the Bengals are pound for pound by far a better team. Like, it's not even close. And this was what we were talking about for week 1. Well, I guess not us, but like something that I was hammering about week 1 is that the Bengals are just better than them. And you think about everything that went right for Pittsburgh in the week 1 game, and they still would have lost the game if an extra point went in, or Clark Harris didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Like, just going through these numbers, Pittsburgh's tied for the last in yards per play. They're one of four teams in the NFL that are failing to average 5 yards a play. Even the lowly Indianapolis Colts and the Denver Broncos are averaging at least 5 yards a play. Pittsburgh's sitting there tied with the Rams at last, at 4.7 since week 5. They're 31st in offensive DVOA since week 5. You could say they found their run game last year. I don't think they did. They faced a really bad New Orleans team, and this Bengals team has proven that they go 4 or 5 deep in terms of stopping the run. And this isn't a great Pittsburgh running offense. It's not a particularly good offensive line. Season long, Pittsburgh is their 10th in rush DVOA, so they can run the ball, but it's not like they're overpowering in any part of the game. They're not a good offense. They're not a good defense. With TJ Watt, they're better, but secondary wise, that's where the matchup is. Bengals, top 5 in yards per passing attempt. This has been they've proven to be the highest ceiling passing offense in the league, because a lot of stuff hasn't gone well for them, and they're still top 3 in everything season
Right.
long, even just filtering out since week 3, just the 2 crappy games to open up the season. The Bengals are number 2 in everything, and they're number 1 in a lot of stuff too.
Yeah. I don't think that Burrow's going to give up. The other thing was, like you said, we barely lost that game, and Clark Harris is there. We win, and that was with Joe Burrow giving up 4 turnovers. So, including the pick 6. I mean, it was just, I don't see Burrow doing that again. Another thing that's positive is we're getting Mike Hilton back against his former team. I mean, this guy that's been a vocal ambassador of ours, has helped us recruit free agents. He wants to have a big game at home, which is why I'm wearing a defensive jersey. 24, baby. I'm trying to get the D fired up. So, but we get Hilton back. So I like that. And then the last thing I have is the revenge game. I mean, you don't want to lose both games to this team, in the season. So I see us being up for this game.
Well, it's really good that or it's unfortunate that William Jackson will not be playing in this game for Pittsburgh. He went on IR about a week ago. I would have really liked to
have torched him on a bunch of plays. Yeah,
to show him what's up.
That would have been
that guy, this guy. But yeah, Burrow has 2 interceptions since the week 1 game. One of them was a tip pass because Myles Garrett is not a member of this planet.
Right.
It's not a member of our. He does not show the same species DNA that we do on planet Earth.
Right.
And then the other one was against Baltimore. That was a bad Burrow throw and didn't end up costing them that much. But Burrow's playing really well this year. I don't think he's being talked about as much. He's completing 70% of his throws. I don't think anyone's talking about Burrow. It's all about Tua and Lamar and Mahomes and for whatever reason Josh Allen. Burrow's outplayed Josh Allen this year. It's not even close.
Right.
The MVP conversation right now should be Tua, Mahomes, Burrow, and Lamar. And for whatever reason, Burrow gets left out. But like, filter out week 1, he has 16 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, and he's completing 73% of his throws. I mean, that's outworldly. His last 5 games, 68%, 75%, 81%. Even against Cleveland, still completed 71%. And then Carolina was probably some of the best he's looked in just terms of just pure passing. Even though he didn't have the touchdowns or the yards, he went 22 for 28, averaging 8 yards a pass. He's playing, and the team has said it. He's playing like this is the Burrow that we saw the end of the year last year, like the last couple of weeks.
Right.
Last 4 games, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception since that Baltimore game. 2 games on the road, 2 games at home. It's been balanced. I think the line's been playing really well. They've filtered out what happened in Cleveland on Halloween. It seems like they're a different team. They're playing with a confidence, and we saw that in the Carolina game with a week's full of rest. Pittsburgh coming off of a big win could be a letdown spot at home. I don't like. I think this is a great spot for Cincinnati.
Yeah, like I said, I like all those factors too. And if Burrow can go 6-2 or 7-1 out of the bye, he's going to be MVP or should be. My opinion was last year, I thought we got hosed with Zach Taylor not getting coach of the year. I know everybody talked about, what's in Tennessee? Vrabel. We talked about, he didn't have Derrick Henry and look how he managed, but he had a playoff team that got to the 1 seed and failed. We went from 2-14, from this losing team to winning the division. So, it's
the thing with that though. The problem is they vote. The awards are voted before the playoffs start, so it doesn't matter what happened in that Bengals Titans.
I know,
game.
But still, I thought Zach's accomplishment was more winning with the team that hadn't been there and was a losing team than Vrabel taking a playoff team to the number 1 seed. That's all he accomplished over the year. So I thought we got hosed last year, but we're the Bengals, so we always have to do more to get noticed and get done. So doesn't surprise me. All right, well. You know what? Let's jump in. Let's give our predictions. You want to go first? Or you want me to?
You can go first.
All right. You know what? I've got us. I think this is another ugly AFC North showdown. I've got us winning 23-16. The Vegas has the over-under at 41, so I'm right there at 39. I'm right in that ballpark, but I got us winning 23-16. I think this is going to be a slugfest. I do not think we're going to get to relax like we did in the second half. It's not going to be 35-0 at half, but
no, it shouldn't be at least.
Right. I would like it to be, as long as we're on the winning end of that. So, but I've got us down 23-16. What do you have?
I have the Bengals winning. I know historically Mike Tomlin in this role has done a very good job, but he's done it with a lot of teams that are way better than this team right now. This is not a good matchup for Pittsburgh. The trends, actually, I saw this earlier. It's like a 65% clip the last 10 years. A team that lost as a home favorite to a divisional team, and then the next time they played, they were a favorite again. They have covered like 67% of the time. That's obviously right into Cincinnati. That's the spot they're in. They lost as a home favorite to Pittsburgh week 1. Now they're playing them again as a favorite once again. So Vegas does think they're the better team. They are the better team. And the Bengals are the 4th or 5th best team in the league. And yeah, it's a good spot for them. I have 24-20. I don't think the Bengals necessarily need to score 30 in this game. Because I think we're going to see a lot of what we did week 1, a lot of punts for Pittsburgh. And where the Bengals will score will probably be when they either force a turnover, because they didn't force a turnover for most of the week 1 game. I don't think they actually forced turnover at all in the week 1 game.
I don't know. I have to go back and look, but
I don't think they did. I think the first turnover of the year was that fumble in Dallas that kind of changed the game and let the Bengals come back. I'm pretty sure that was the first turnover of the year for them. Anyways, I think that they should force 1 turnover of Kenny Pickett. You can see the gears turning with him. You can see it, but it's still a rookie quarterback against a Joe Burrow team, a team that's been there. They have the pedigree. So I have 24-20, not a completely high scoring game, but that better team wins close on the road. It's hard to win on the road in this league, but the Bengals get it done on Sunday.
All right, I agree. And then let's hope Lou dials something special up. We didn't talk about Pinkett. He has looked good. I mean, he has had his flashes. So I do think Pittsburgh is going to be happy with that draft pick down the road, but he's still a rookie this year. And I think Lou should be able to bait him into a couple turnovers. So,
Lou said that this was the best week of practice. I don't know if this is just coach speak. You go either way, but he did say that this was the best week of practice that the defense has had since he got there in 2019, which says a lot. I don't think he was baited into saying that in the press conference. I think he just said it because he believes it. He said that this is the best they've practiced over the course of a week since 2019, since he got there.
yeah. So, all right. Well, I'll be back with a recap of the game. First of all, if you have a final score, put your score down in the comments. Let us know what you think. Are we crazy? Is it a blowout? I mean, just put it down there. Let us know. And I'll be back with a recap after the game. And hopefully we're blowing the victory horn and doing all that. And Jake will be back with another preview next week. We'll be previewing the Tennessee game. So, look forward to that. And like I said, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe and go ahead and check out Jake. You want to tell them one more time where they can find your stuff?
Yeah, Twitter at Jake Circus. That's SIRKUS at Jake Circus. And then the Jake Circus podcast on Spotify and YouTube.
All right, sounds good. So with that, hopefully we are celebrating a win. We start the run out of the bye week just like we did last year. And I'm going to say, hoo day, everybody. Take care.